initially when you set up your Raspberry Pi, you're just going to do ifconfig the IP address for that Raspberry Pi. As you can see, as I typed in, mine is 192.168.0.15, and so that is what you're going to be using in the Remmina Remote desktop application in Ubuntu. But another thing that you need to do before you go back to the Ubuntu desktop is you need to change the VNC server settings on your Raspberry Pi. So all you have to do is open up the VNC server application and then go to options. So once you go to options, you'll see that it should say either Unix password, but we're going to change it to VNC password. And then also, after you do that, you're gonna have to go to users and permissions, and you can keep this standard user one, but just change the password to a password that you can remember. And you're gonna be using user and this password when you are plugging it into the remote desktop application in Ubuntu, as you'll see later. So now we're going to switch over to the Ubuntu. This tutorial is necessary for you to have Ubuntu, and this we're going to be SSHing into the Raspberry Pi initially to figure out what if there's a connection is stable, and it's actually recognizable on your home network. So now you can see the ifconfig information and the IP address of your Raspberry Pi, and that can be used for SSHing into the Raspberry Pi, so you can mess with the Raspberry Pi from a different machine. Now we're going to make sure that you have VNC server installed onto the Raspberry Pi. So you do that by the command sudo apt-get install VNC4 server. VNC4 server. So something you can do also when you're using the terminal in Linux, you type in like the first 3 letters of something, you can double tap tab and see like it can kind of like autocomplete for you, and it's really useful when you're using Linux. So just if you can't remember the name of something, but you may be able to remember the first word of the phrase, just type in the first word, double tab, and then that'll get you to the correct thing. As you can see in the video right now, I did that when I said VNC. And once you have all the software that you need installed, the VNC server, you can do VNC server tac or :1, and that'll set up a VNC server on the Raspberry Pi to be displayed for other computers to VNC using the remote desktop in different applications sometimes. So yeah, now I'm going to actually go into the remote desktop application and put in the correct IP address, which I am getting from the to use in the remote desktop application. So I'm just gonna, I have it here, but I'll create a new one just to show you what they do. So I'm gonna say pi, and then pi 2, and then I'll do VNC, and then we're gonna say the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. So that's 192. It's right here. 192.168.0.15. So that's the Raspberry Pi, and the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. So the username and password, you set this up. I will show you, and this is set up before. This is what the use of when you go into the VNC server application on the Raspberry Pi, when you hook it up to your laptop or hook it up to your display, you have to edit this and make a default user. I just made mine user, and then the password. Well, you guys don't have to know my password. And then you just press connect, and that should get you into the Raspberry Pi from Ubuntu. And there it is. That's how you get into a Raspberry Pi from an Ubuntu.
Like, comment, subscribe. Ooh.